Me and H, my husband H, we were going down our driveway, and this man was following us, and we always know the paparazzi when we see them, and he comes up and keeps following us, and we get out of the car, and then he gets out of his car, and then he gives us this bag with food that we had just ordered, acting like some kind of food delivery service. So yeah, we're pretty familiar with the paparazzi.
An unsparing account of an extraordinary life. There's a fair amount of marijuana, mushrooms, cooking. I mean, that's going to surprise people.
But important to acknowledge.
They're just this pathetic, narcissistic, self-indulgent pair. I just think they're dreadful. I was just talking to Isabel earlier. Why on earth we allow him to keep his titles? If he hates this country, if he hates the monarchy, if I had enough time, I'd be bringing in a private member's bill to say, right, you want to hate the monarchy? You're Mr. Windsor. Jog on, really. Grow up. I mean, I know that Hollywood is full of sad old Etonians with slightly sort of racy girlfriends trying to justify their existence, but please, give me a break. I can't bear it. I just can't bear them. I cannot bear them. Thank you so much. I feel better already.
You've seen the documents. There are papers in which this behavior is documented going back to, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's October of 2018. This was not a made-up scandal because she went on Oprah.
No. So a couple of things to say that, yes, the original memo making the bullying accusation was in October of 2018. First of all, Harry's talks about the palace. And this is an allegation that Meghan's lawyers made when they responded to me, that this was clearly an attempt to smear by Buckingham Palace. And that's, obviously I'm not going to get into my sources for the story, but that's a ludicrous allegation. Because if you read what I wrote, the Buckingham Palace does not emerge well from this. They messed up. They messed up because they did nothing. These allegations of bullying were made, and they did absolutely nothing. They just sat in it. So the idea that Buckingham Palace should put this out is just a joke.
We heard from Gayle King after her best friend Oprah interviewed them. Meghan has the receipts. She's got the documentation to prove every claim she made in that interview. And yet now we've watched 6 hours of Netflix and we've read Prince Harry's memoir, Spare, and there are no receipts. There is nothing to prove that the royal family has a racist who's concerned about how dark the baby's skin is going to be, or these other allegations that she said to Oprah. However, you do have receipts. You claim in the book to have seen receipts, so to speak, of the bullying, including, you read as follows. On October 26th, 2018, just as Harry and Meghan were flying from Tonga to Sydney for the Invictus Games, Jason, is it Knopf? Is that how you pronounce his name?
Knopf, yeah.
Jason Knopf, who worked for a time, he worked for William, Kate, and Harry, and then he split off to just William and Kate after things went south with Meghan and Harry. Knopf wrote an email to his immediate boss, Simon Case, Prince William's private secretary, saying he had spoken to the head of HR for the palace, again, this is 2018, about, quote, some very serious problems concerning Meghan's behavior. He wrote, quote, I am very concerned that the Duchess was able to bully 2 PAs out of the household in the past year. The Duchess seems intent on always having someone in her sights. She is bullying X, name withheld by author, and seeking to undermine her confidence. We have report after report from people who have witnessed unacceptable behavior toward X, despite the universal views from her colleagues that she's a leading talent within the household who's delivering first-rate work. Knopf, who's in daily contact with the staff, went on to say that the tour was very challenging and was made worse by the behavior of the Duchess, and goes on from there, saying the situation is very serious. So did you actually get to see this memo, Valentine?
I had that memo read out to me. I didn't physically see it, but I have also, my source also showed me, should we say, physical evidence of other conversations backing up the allegation of bullying, and testimony from members of staff about the effect that Meghan's behavior had on them. People talking about how they were shaking with fear because they anticipated getting a roasting from Meghan, and how they felt physically sick. And it was obviously not a healthy working atmosphere.
Okay, I think she's pissed. Meghan Markle furious over Prince Harry's humiliating memoir. What happened, Meghan? You thought it was going to go a different way? Meghan thought that Spare would be their crowning glory, and finally the public would understand why they fled England to start over. I thought y'all fled because of racism too, but we saw what happened with that, so... There's a reason we haven't seen her since the book came out. She's humiliated. She expected Harry's book to get everyone on her side after all their struggles, and instead her husband, and therefore her, has become a laughingstock. This is the best part though. To describing how he found her sobbing several times while living in the UK. She's worried it makes her sound crazy, says the source. She can't believe Harry went that far. They have been fighting about it. Oh, I know that stage, Harry. He's been doing that a lot lately, leaving the house alone to get some air. It's like he's trying to keep out of her hair, or she's instructed him to get out of her sight. Damn.
Our attention to Harry and Meghan. Jack Royston, who we know is a sugar and who supports them, so when he writes stuff like this, you should sit up and pay attention. He wrote that their popularity here has plunged in the aftermath of the book, which I've been saying now for, a week? They're now in the negative numbers, including people 18 to 24 because they think it was wrong of them to reveal private conversations. What did I tell you? The more they try to get their story out, the more people dislike them. Yes, Harry and Meghan are more unpopular in the United States than they were in Britain in 2019 when they were working royals. Wow. All right, next up, I just wanted to touch on this article that says that Harry and Meghan's, the fallout from that book is threatening their Hollywood future. Threatening? I think it's over. What's being said is that people are being very wary of them for fear that they'll publicly speak out.
Walk us through, tell us a little bit, because, the book is about all the people around the royal family, courtiers. Walk us through who these people are, not in terms of identity, but when I read this, part of me asked myself, why is everybody always crying around her? Either she's terrible or these are a bunch of snowflakes, right? Are these snowflakes? Are these just weak-kneed people serving the royal family who need to toughen up a little?
No, they're not snowflakes. And let me tell you a bit about the two people who were closest to Harry and Meghan in the period we're talking about. So their private secretary was an Australian woman called Samantha Cohen, who worked for the Queen for a long time, incredibly able, popular. The Queen loved her, very, very, very tough as well, and very imaginative. And everyone liked Sam. And the communications person was a woman called Sarah Latham, who has dual US and UK nationality, and very tough, very experienced media professional. And these two people. So first of all, there's a point to be made that they're not stuffy old Brits. So the idea that the wicked old palace, tweedy old courtiers, crushing the spirit of free thinking Meghan, that's just not true. And the other is that they believed in it at the beginning. They were very much on Harry and Meghan's side, and they wanted to make it work, and they did everything they could to make it work. But by the end of it, they and other people who work for Harry and Meghan were calling themselves the Sussex Survivors Club.
Absolutely thrilled. It's brilliant. And as I said, America's loss is our gain. And we're all absolutely delighted. As you can see, they're so happy. And sometimes, in a climate where we're surrounded by a lot of bad news, it's a real joy to have a bit of good news for once. And as I said before, we're delighted.
Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this. I'm sure you've heard by now, but we have new merch. Check out my new merch. That is on teespring.com, and I believe it's /Real Housewives Recaps, but I put a link in the description of this video as well. So check it out for everything, and I hope you have a great rest of your week. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.